to go out to the ball field. The one and only Paul Russo, Hit Factory, my man, one of the local legends here in the Bay Area. Where you at, brother? You at TC? Where you at?
Yeah, just got done golfing with Coach Tom, and now at TC.
Zig-zang, brother. Coach Tom. Has Coach Tom Garvey ever had a bad day?
If he has, nobody's ever seen it.
Oh, my gosh. And if anybody out there is listening and watching for the first time, our guy, Coach Tom, I'm sure you've seen the videos. He's got the hats on. He's got the cigar. Saturday morning, he puts them out. He's doing a dance. He's got a song, usually from the 90s. I mean, he is one of one. There is nobody like our guy, Coach Tom.
Motivation Saturdays. Everybody looks forward to it.
You got to go check that out, our guy, Coach Tom Garvey. We're going to talk some local stuff here. I'm rocking the UT hat here. Obviously, you have, your history there, and just to be able to see it. I was bringing this up, and I want to get your opinion. The Rays and comparing them to UT. When people say baseball can't work in the Bay Area, Paul, you and I know tens of thousands of kids in the state play baseball, and it's extremely frustrating to me that there seems to be a disconnect between the Rays and our community, right? And you look at a Division II baseball team, hundreds of people go out to support them at a college level. I mean, do you see that too? Is that just something that you're a Tampa lifer through and through. Is that just something that I'm seeing? Like, what do you see as a guy that's grown up and around the baseball field your entire life?
Jay, if we've always talked about if the stadium was in Tampa or it being in St. Pete, is that the big holdback why people don't go to the games? I've always believed that if the stadium was in Tampa, that more people would go to the games. Just not for the reason that the stadium's where it's at. It's because the drive home is the big thing. I always thought, and I've always and will believe that if the stadium's in Tampa, it's going to be a bigger draw. There are hundreds of thousands of kids that play baseball in Tampa, hundreds of thousands of kids that love the Rays. And I can't understand why people don't go, other than it's a haul after a 7:00 game at night.
Yeah. I wonder if the relationship was stronger though, right? Because I grew up in New York, man. People would drive 4 hours both ways on a school night because it was like that was the ticket. People aren't complaining in St. Pete about having to go to Lightning games. And I know it's not the same amount of games, but I just feel like if the bond was stronger, right? Absolutely. And I've had this conversation with one of your former high school teammates and a good friend of ours, one of the Lanjotti brothers. Yep. And we were just talking about the rich tradition of baseball in the Tampa Bay area and how it doesn't seem. Do you think it's translated to the Rays? Because I look at all these guys that play pro ball and it doesn't seem like it is transitioned over.
Well, I think, Jay, they've even had Tampa guys play on the team. You're talking Fred McGriff, you're talking Tino, you're talking Wade Boggs, and it just hasn't translated over for whatever reason. I think when you're talking about when you're being a kid going 4 hours to a game, you're talking about the New York Yankees. That's a big difference. I could tell you, I know the Rays are involved in the community. They give money to Little League parks. They give money to programs to help sustain Little Leagues and help build them back up. I know Belmont Heights has been one traditionally. West Tampa Little League has been a traditional benefactor from the Rays. I know they give out uniforms to ballparks. So I don't think the community relations is bad. I just think that they have a problem getting people in the stands on a daily basis. Now, when it's playoff time, if they're in the playoffs, the place is pretty packed. Everyday basis, I don't think you're going to have those people going to baseball games like they would if it was in Tampa. Yeah. That's just my personal opinion.
Right. What? How did you're at Tampa Catholic right now? I know that you guys got affected by the storms. Just take us through, how some of the damage there at TC, and if you guys are going to be ready for the season, because it'll be here before you know it.
From the first hurricane, it wiped out the batting cages, all the equipment in the locker room. The water rose 3.5 feet high past the dugout into the field. When Paulie and I walked up, when we could get on campus, the batting cages looked like a fishing boat net with all the debris from the river in it. The water level had reached above the water fountain in the cages. In the dugout, and all the pitching machines, all the baseballs, all the field equipment ruined. And then the second storm flooded the coach's office. So they had to black mold everywhere. They had to tear down the coach's office. And in fact, 5 minutes before I got on with you, Jay, we toured it, and it's unbelievable. It is.
Wow.
It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
So you guys going to be ready for the opening?
They just put up the fence again yesterday. They finished putting up the fence, so we should be ready for opening day for sure.
Oh, well, that's fantastic news, man. That is so good.
The Tampa Catholic community, Principal Lees, really did an outstanding job turning it from a tragedy to something beautiful. He truly did. He did a wonderful job.
That's a great thing. It wouldn't be the same if you guys weren't playing this year. And you have Jesuit on the schedule this year?
I'm sure we do. I don't get involved a whole lot with it. Paulie does it all, and but it's always a great couple of games to go play Miguel and the guys at Jesuit. It's a great rivalry, and it's great camaraderie between the coaches, and it's a good time, regardless of win, lose, whatever.
It's the best rivalry in high school sports, in my opinion. High school baseball, definitely. Some big news that came out earlier today. After this year, Coach Jim Macaluso is he's hanging him up. His 50th year as King Lions head coach. He's retiring at the end of the 2025 season. Paul, I got a great picture of myself with Jim Macaluso, Pop Cuesta, and the late great Frank Permua years ago at the Saladino tournament. And all everybody kept saying is the one guy you're missing is the guy you never met, and the great Coach Billy Reed. What does it say about Tampa baseball where a guy like Jim Macaluso can be coaching there 50 years? He's obviously sent guys to the pros. Just talk about what he's done at King and just kind of high school baseball in general in our area.
Well, sustainability is, he's been coaching there almost as long as I've been alive, Jay. It's, he's been there 50 years. He's been a mainstay. And, another legend last year retired, Coach Crumley, and now Coach Mack. So, when Coach Permui passed away, and then Pop retired, then Crum, now Coach Mack. It's the legends when I was growing up as a kid have all retired, and it's sad, but we were at the dinner the other day for the Italian national team. He looks fantastic. He looks like he could coach another 50 years, and I could tell you he's had great baseball players there. Ty Griffin, Derek Bell, Derek Pedro, guys that I played against in high school that, are legends in high school baseball here. And he, and I told Coach Mack this story years ago when I was a kid, and we went to play at King, and he had the Italian flag flying in the outfield. And I go, Coach Mack, my dad and I still talk about that to this day, that, it was just a special time and place to go play there and play against him. He's been a great coach and a great mentor for 50 years.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Italian club. We were there before UT ended up playing the Italian national team. We know the bonds with Mike Piazza, and I remember Joe Urso, head coach of UT, walks me into he's like, I have you sitting at this table. I don't know if you know anybody at the table. And it was you and Sammy and Coach Mack and Pop and Tony Saladino. I'm like, yeah, I think I know these guys.
You know everybody.
That was it. If I had my choice, that'd be the place that I would sit 100%. Out of all the guys that grew up in the Tampa Bay area, who was the best guy that you saw on the mound, and who was the best guy that you saw at the plate?
Well, of course, I'm always going to say Sammy because he's been my best friend since we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And without myself at the plate, Tino Martinez. Because I'm always going to say me.
When did you know? Because obviously you played some pro ball, but those guys like Tino, and I'm not just talking about the guys that you grew up with, but like the next level, like looking at the late great Jose Fernandez and looking at guys like Kyle and Preston Tucker and guys like that.
Yeah.
At what point, or Pete Alonso, another guy that you know very well, and I name dropped you a couple years ago when I met him the first time. I was like, yeah, Paulie's one of my best friends. He's like, oh, and he was just so nice to me. Not that he wasn't a nice guy before that, but that got me in there. But what is it that you see from those type of guys, whether you played with them or you coached with or against them, that you just knew like that kid has the potential to really do some great things?
Commitment to be great. Nothing more, nothing less. The commitment to be great. And regardless of what naysayers there were, they had a belief in themselves, and they were all of those kids. They just had a commitment to be great. That you talk about the Tucker brothers, Pete Alonso. There's so many guys that have made it up the ladder here from Tampa. And I said this 25 years ago when I retired, Jay. I said the next 25 years will be a resurgence of baseball players because now all the guys that played are helping. Mm-hmm. And they have a little higher knowledge of a professional aspect, and now they're going to go back to coach. Because, listen, when I was in high school, when I transferred to Jefferson my senior year, Fred McGriff was my mentor. I would have never met Fred unless I transferred to Jefferson. And to the day I retired, he was a mentor to me with learning how to hit home runs, be a base hitter, all those kinds of things. And I think the kids nowadays have benefited from that. But their work ethic, Jay, was unsurpassed. And, I think that no matter what, talent is talent, but work ethic is what's going to get you to where you have to be or where you want to be.
So great to see Fred get finally inducted into the Hall of Fame. Such a long wait. Another guy that is from the Tampa area that I've been kind of banging down the walls to get in is Gary Sheffield. I just don't understand.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty that guy is not in the Hall of Fame. It's not only disrespectful to Chef. It's a travesty. The guy was one of the most tremendous, prestigious home run and RBI guys in Major League Baseball for 20 years, and the guy's not in the Hall of Fame.
Why do you think that is? Is it because of the name, sullied, or maybe, with the
listen, Jay, there's a lot of a-holes in the Hall of Fame. And I can tell you what, Gary Sheffield treated me like a brother our whole career. When he was in the big leagues with Milwaukee, and I think I've told you this story before, when he was in the big leagues with Milwaukee, Pat and I were in A-ball in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Every month I'd get a care package from Gary Sheffield for bats, batting gloves, shoes, whatever. Every single month. He didn't have to do that. And, I was swinging big league wood in A-ball because of Gary. And that should tell everybody the kind of person he is. He gives back to people from here, to the community. Yeah. People, the media portrayed him a certain way, but that's just the way the media is. We all know the last 10 years, the media isn't always the greatest, know. And but I can tell you, Gary Sheffield, bona fide Hall of Famer with his eyes closed, without a doubt.
I'm with you, man. Before I get you out of here, you guys have some tryouts coming up for Hit Factory?
Yeah, we have our Hit Factory, the last tryout for the older boys. We got a couple more spots to fill, and so that's our last tryout coming up. And then next week we'll have the younger kids, their tryouts. We'll have 2 or 3 of those up until the beginning or right after the new year, and then we're ready to go again.
HitFactoryTampa.com. What's different about you guys than everybody else? I mean, I know the answer. I mean, I got the hat right here behind me. But for those people wondering, because there are those, everybody's like, oh my gosh, travel ball. I don't want my kid anywhere near that. Obviously, they don't know that if they're not into it. But what's different about you guys compared to some of these other programs?
Well, it's totally saturated now. It's totally saturated. Everybody and their mother has an organization. But we've been here 30 years, bro. We've been here 30 years. And we have a plan. We want every kid to progress at their level. We have teams that are developmental, and we have pro teams. So we coach the game from the ground up, and we try to make every kid reach their full potential. And there's always going to be parents that gripe. You know it.
Of course.
When we coach together, we saw it all the time. But, the funny thing to me is, we have kids that leave, want to come back after they leave, and I tell parents, I said, listen, you're a parent. You have to do what you think is best for your kid. But I'm telling you, it's not always greener on the other side. Let your son struggle if he has to, because it's going to teach him character. It's going to teach him development. It's going to teach him how to be a great teammate. And, Jay, our whole family is involved in it.
Right.
From my daughters to my son to my nephews, it's a family affair. Vince Scagno now, we got another head coach in the family with Chenzo at Steinbrenner. So our coaching staff, we got 7 pro guys that coach. Joe Martinez, Mike Figa, Scott Pitcher. I mean, myself, my brother, Paulie. We got pro guys everywhere there. And if the kids learn anything from us, it's how to prepare yourself, not to just be a major league player. That's because a lot of that's luck. You know that. Yeah. It's to prepare yourself every day to be ready to play baseball. And the goal is to win.
Yeah, you got that right, buddy. And now that my schedule's opened up a little more, I might have to go back.
Listen, that's not even a comment. You just, whenever you're ready, you just say, okay, I'm ready. And you're there.
Yeah, I think the summer that might be where we spend some time. I remember your brother Pat's asking me last year, like, "Bro, you want to take a team in the fall?" I'm like, "The fall? What are you talking about? Hockey? You got football? What time? Come on, you got time on the weekend?" I'm like, "That's the time I have the least amount of time, Pat."
Exactly.
Oh man, but yes,
he's on a baseball field all the time, bro. So he don't even realize what's going on.
He's a maniac, man. That's why I love him, man. And excited to see Cole, your nephew, going to be playing for UT this year. How excited are you guys for that?
Super excited. He's going to wear 33, my number. And so now we got 33 on the baseball field, 33 on the softball field with Alexa in her last year. And we're super excited. Super excited.
Awesome. Paul Russo, the one and only. Check him out, hitfactorytampa.com, from the legendary Russo baseball family. I love you, brother. Give my love to everybody over there, your son, your better half, everybody, the girls, everybody. I love you, buddy, and we'll talk soon.
I love you, and you do the same.
Thanks, pal.
All right, brother.
See ya.
Bye.